Stephen hummed happily as he decorated the house with assorted bright pastel colors and a large collection of confetti. The cool spring air blew in through the open windows, creating a peaceful atmosphere for Stephen's perfect Easter morning. The warp pad sparkled with a familiar pale blue light as Pearl warped into the room.
Pearl!
Stephen cheered with delight as she looked down at him. "Oh, good morning, Stephen. Busy, I see?" She looked around the room at all the vibrant colors.
Yep, it's Easter!
Stephen exclaimed, skipping around the room to the table, which was fully dressed with colorful decorations. "Easter?" Pearl questioned, hinting at her confusion. "Is that another one of your human holiday things? Gosh, your species has so many. It is a tad bit confusing to learn all these events." She crossed her arms. Stephen responded with a nod and a giggle.
This one's different though. You get to paint eggs and then you get to go find them. There's candy and stuff inside. Sometimes they're even cooler stuff, like a toy or money. And then there's Easter baskets. My dad gives me one every year and it's super awesome and full of candy.
"That seems extremely unsanitary," Pearl carped, looking back at the stacks of egg cartons on the counter. "How many of these did you make?"
A lot. About 6 dozen.
He said with a giggle.
I'm donating some to the annual Beach City egg hunt. About half of them I think will do.
"What on earth are we going to do with 3 dozen eggs?"
Well, hide them and go find them, of course. I just said that.
"After that?"
Eat them? We can make egg sandwiches and salads, you know.
Pearl sighed and shook her head with a smile. "All right then. I'm sure Amethyst will help you with that."
Of course, we can all come and paint the eggs.
"Now?" Pearl questioned.
Now!
He replied with a giggle. "Oh, all right. I'll go get the others." "I've never done this Easter thing before. Seems fun." Amethyst chuckled while forcefully pushing her paintbrush onto an egg. Stephen hummed happily as he kicked his legs. All 3 of the gems sat at the table, painting the remaining dozens of eggs.
Since it's your guys' first Easter, me and Connie are gonna set up the egg hunt for you both. After we paint the eggs, of course.
"I don't know, Stephen. We're more than happy to set it up for you." Pearl conferred with a smile as she painted an overly detailed white dove on a glossy blue egg.
"Sounds fun, Stephen."
Garnet grinned, pulling her egg out of a bright red dye. "Dang it!" Amethyst spat, yanking her paintbrush out of the large hole she had made in her egg. "Amethyst!" Pearl scolded. Amethyst shrugged, popping the mostly empty shell into her mouth. Stephen chuckled and set down his paintbrush, grabbing her a new egg.
It's fine. Just save some for Connie.
He smiled, returning to his painting.
"Done,"
Garnet announced, placing her egg on the rack that Stephen had set out. He drew his attention to what she had just painted.
Garnet, you just drew yourself.
Stephen said, and shrugged in response. He shook his head with a soft laugh, dipping his egg back into the colored dye. Pearl softly hummed as she continued painting the same egg, attempting to make it perfect. Amethyst had returned to painting hers, attempting to be careful and not to break it, as she slapped blobs of dye onto it. Some dye flew off of her brush and onto Pearl's egg. Pearl let out a screech in response. "Amethyst!" she yelled in disgust. Before the two could get into their daily bickering, they were interrupted by a soft knock on the screen door. Stephen jumped up excitedly and ran over, almost slipping on his flip-flop in the process.
"Hey, Stephen! Happy Easter!"
She exclaimed. She wore a light pink pastel dress, along with a sun hat that had a pastel green ribbon. A small egg pin was attached to the ribbon, corresponding well with the colors.
"Here, this isn't much, but it's what I picked up on the way here."
She smiled softly, handing him a bag as she stepped into the room.
Thanks, Connie. You didn't have to.
He grinned, curiously peeking into the bag. "Hello, Connie!" Pearl greeted, smiling as she carefully laid down her egg.
"Hey guys, what you doing?"
"Stephen got us painting eggs," Amethyst explained, placing a speckled one she had made onto the rack.
Wanna join?
Stephen pulled up a chair next to his, courtesying. Connie giggled and sat down.
"Of course, silly."
She giggled and helped herself to a bright yellow egg. Stephen pulled a pair of rabbit ears out of the bag Connie had given him and gasped.
Pearl!
Stephen hopped back up from his chair, and without a moment's reaction, he quickly placed them on top of Pearl's head. Amethyst immediately started howling in laughter. "Look, he's a rabbit!" she snickered. Pearl blushed in embarrassment, angrily rolling her eyes. Garnet brought a paintbrush up to Pearl's face and drew whiskers.
"Even better."
She smiled. Stephen giggled, putting his hands on his cheeks.
Your turn, Amethyst.
Stephen giggled, grabbing a party hat and putting it on her nose. It had a bright yellow stripe down the middle. Amethyst giggled as Stephen brushed paint onto her face with his tongue out.
Done! You're a chick!
Amethyst stuck her tongue out. "Coolio!" Stephen turned to Garnet.
Hmm.
Stephen put a hand on his chin. He'd have to be creative with Garnet.
Here, put on these glasses.
He pulled out a pair of egg-shaped glasses and put them on Garnet's face, then proceeded to weave ribbon around her head. Connie held back her snickers as Stephen perfected his work.
Done!
He dusted his hands with satisfaction and stepped back to admire his master decorating.
Good job, Stephen.
Connie giggled softly. The paint was smeared on his hands and cheeks, but he didn't seem to mind. We still got a lot of eggs to paint, Pearl said, peering into the bucket at the side of the table.
Well, let's get back to the task at hand then.
Connie concluded, setting the egg she had just finished on the rack. Paint covered everything: arms, hands, clothes, and the tablecloth. A remarkable display of colored eggs covered the counter, all with assorted bright pastels, dark rainbows, and speckled eggs. Stephen admired all the work they did, wiping the sweat from his forehead tiredly.
Maybe I won't make 6,000 next year.
He chuckled inside. Connie scrubbed her hands in the sink, dousing it in reds and blues. Good idea, Amethyst said as Pearl cleaned her hands with a paper towel, rubbing it across her face.
So,
Stephen clapped his hands together, getting the group's attention.
I've got to hide the eggs we just painted. There's already some plastic ones outside.
Plastic ones? Pearl questioned.
Yeah! Now there's a golden egg outside, and whoever finds it gets a special prize, and whoever finds the most eggs will also get a prize.
Wait, there's prizes?
Amethyst perked up, looking up from her snack time with the eggs.
Heck yeah! You guys can go first. Whoever gets the most is the best gem.
He smirked happily. The gems exchanged glances with each other.
You're on, mister.
Garnet said. Stephen wildly smiled as he pulled some of the eggs into a bucket to take outside. He darted out to finish setting up the Easter egg hunt. Connie giggled to herself as she watched him jumping around.
He's so happy,
She said, smiling while she watched from the window.
I'm so gonna beat you, P.
Amethyst smirked at her. Pearl nudged her shoulder with her hand.
Doubt it. I'm gonna win that prize.
No, I am.
Garnet butted in with a smile. They argued amongst themselves, more jokingly than anything. Stephen suddenly burst in, completely out of breath.
Ready?
He panted, taking a moment to recover from all the running.
Wait, they need baskets.
Connie pointed out. Stephen gasped, slapping his hands to his cheeks.
How could I forget?
He quickly dashed upstairs, digging around in a box.
If only Stephen ran that fast on missions.
Pearl quietly joked to Amethyst, who chuckled in reply. Stephen yanked out 3 medium-sized baskets from the box, each one having its own combination of colors. He sprinted down the stairs, almost falling, and handed each of them a basket.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go!
He shouted. The 3 quickly darted out the door. The beach was speckled in assorted bright colors, lighting up the sand perfectly. Whoa, Amethyst said, scanning along the beach. Pearl picked up 1 egg and examined it and put it into her basket.
Like this, Stephen?
She turned to ask him.
Yes!
Stephen called from the balcony.
But it's a race. You gotta go fast.
Heck yeah!
Amethyst laughed, zipping around. She scooped up eggs as she ran. Her basket was soon filling with more sand than eggs.
This isn't working.
Amethyst grumbled frustratingly, dumping out the contents of her basket.
You have to pick up the eggs and put them into your basket. Not scoop them off the ground.
Stephen giggled from the balcony.
Fine.
Amethyst groaned, picking up a few eggs from her pile of the sand. Stephen looked over at Garnet, who had to kneel down while collecting because of her height. Her basket was relatively full.
Oh, there's a lot more eggs than you guys can carry in your baskets. Come up and put them in the bucket.
The gems raced to collect as many eggs as they could, picking up a huge amount of plastic and hard-boiled eggs. They fought over the title of who would be the best gem, yelling bickers back and forth to each other while they hunted for eggs.
I love it when they fight over me.
Stephen poised, winking and making a duck face.
Don't act so flattered.
Connie giggled, playfully nudging him with her elbow. Pearl and Amethyst panted, completely out of breath. They scanned the beach for any more remaining eggs.
Stephen, I think that's the rest of them.
Amethyst called, wiping the sweat from her forehead. Stephen clapped happily.
Congratulations!
He cheered. They all looked around at each other, Garnet picking up the large bucket of eggs. Who won? Pearl wheezed between her pants. Stephen blinked.
Who did win?
He looked at the bucket.
I wasn't counting.
Stephen shrugged with a half smile. Pearl and Amethyst groaned. Garnet smiled to herself.
This means we all win.
She said. Stephen's smile brightened up.
Yeah, everyone wins.
What about that golden egg thing you said?
Amethyst crossed her arms.
I couldn't find it either.
Pearl said, putting a hand on her chin and peering into the bucket of eggs.
Found it.
Connie said. Everyone looked at her to see her pluck it off the railing of the balcony. Ah! Amethyst whined in disappointment.
Connie wins the golden egg.
Stephen cheered happily, throwing his arms around her. She giggled, tightly hugging him in return. Pearl smiled and rolled her eyes, softly shaking her head.
Come look, guys.
Stephen said as he opened the door. There on the counter were 3 Easter baskets, all filled with assorted goodies, each color coded to a specific gem.
Oh, it's so beautiful, Stephen.
Pearl said, admiring the array of baskets.
Oh yeah, candy!
Amethyst said, running over and picking up hers, which was covered in purple glitter and stones.
Be careful, Amethyst.
Pearl said as she picked up hers. Stephen happily watched their reactions. Garnet picked up her basket.
Nice lava rocks, Stephen.
Garnet said, picking up a few stones from her basket.
Yeah, those were hard to get without you guys looking.
He chuckled softly.
Thank you, Stephen. These are adorable.
Pearl smiled.
Happy Easter, guys.
He pulled everyone in for a group hug. Everyone chuckled and hugged Stephen back. Stephen chewed on his chocolate Easter bunny, Connie sitting next to him, gnawing on the chocolate ears he had given her. They all sat together on the couch, watching Easter specials on the TV. A large array of painted hard-boiled eggs decorated the table. Amethyst ate full plastic eggs after opening them to see what was inside, and playing with a yo-yo she had gotten from inside one of them. The atmosphere was peaceful and calm, the perfect Easter morning. The screen door suddenly burst open as Greg hopped into the house.
Happy Easter, everyone!
He wore a sweater that was decorated with eggs, along with matching bunny ears.
Dad!
Stephen said, hopping up and running over to give him a hug.
Hey there, Stewball! Happy Easter!
He said, scooping him up. Stephen giggled happily.
Whoa! Look at all those eggs!
Greg said, noticing the eggs in the corner of his eye.
Yeah, we had a super fun Easter egg hunt and stuff.
Stephen said, happily pointing over to the eggs.
Sounds like fun. Brought your Easter basket.
Greg said, picking it back up from the floor where he had set it down to pick Stephen up.
Whoa, that looks awesome!
Stephen happily took the basket from him.
And I got a little one for Connie, too.
He smiled and chuckled.
Oh, Mr. Universe, you didn't have to.
She giggled as he handed it to her.
We don't want anyone left out on Easter.
Stephen sat down and started digging through his basket, which was full of candy and toys.
Heck yeah, this is super cool. Thanks, Dad.
He said happily. Greg tousled his hair.
Glad you had a good Easter, kiddo.
They both chuckled.
We should have a picnic on the beach for lunch.
Connie suggested with a smile.
And make some egg sandwiches, maybe?
Yes, definitely.
Stephen nodded. Pearl helped pack up a picnic lunch as the group all made lunch together. The sun shone bright across the beach. The squeals of laughter of children filled the air, along with a crisp ocean breeze. The group set up a picnic right outside the house, basking in the sunlight of the glorious Easter morning.